Hello, amazing parents. We have 33 vertebrae that can move independent of each other. The more our brains know about each individual vertebrae, the better our brains can coordinate each vertebrae to work together with the rest of our body so we can do things like head control, rolling over, coming up into a sitting position, standing and walking. So if you have a child with a disability such as cerebral palsy, a brain injury, a genetic disorder, global developmental delays, here's a simple, gentle, brain-based exercise that you can do with your child right at home to help bring their brain's awareness to all of their different vertebrae that will help them have better coordination over their entire bodies that will help them reach their next milestone. So let's dive in. I'll show you the simple technique called supporting the spine. All you need are your two fingers and your child to be comfortable lying on their side. So ideally, you'll want your child to be lying comfortably on their side with their knees about 90 degrees from their hips. So you don't really want them to be straight out like this or tucked too close into their chest. About a 90-degree angle from the hip bones there, but their comfort overrides everything. So if there's any spasticity or they're more comfortable in a different position with their legs, then go ahead and put them in their most comfortable position. You'll probably also want some sort of a pillow underneath here if needed. And for the sake of the camera, I'm going to be sitting sort of in this position here, but if I'm with my client, like you can see here, I would actually have them lined up with me sort of like this in this position. So I'm more comfortable reaching their spine and supporting with these two fingers. So basically make sure your child is lying on their side comfortably and you're comfortable as well. So once you're ready, you're going to take these two fingers here. So not the tips of your fingers, but the pads of your fingers right here. And think of them like soft little marshmallows that are going to support each individual vertebrae. Now first use these pads of your fingers to gently slide along the length of your child's spine, nice and gentle and soft. At this point, I actually like to split my fingers like a little V like this. So I'm going on one side of the vertebrae and the other side of the vertebrae. You never want to touch exactly on the tip of the point of their vertebrae. It doesn't feel very comfortable to jab right into that point. You actually want to go on the sides of the vertebrae and just gently run the pads of your fingers nice and soft and gentle along their entire spine and just getting familiar with their spine. Where does their spine stick out? Where does their spine sort of dip in or disappear? Maybe there's a scoliosis, so you might actually notice where that curve is in their spine. For now, you're not doing anything to them. You're not manipulating them. You're not forcing anything. You're just getting familiar with their spine. Now, the cool part of this is because you're gently touching them, their brain is actually taking in that incoming information that you're giving them with your soft, gentle fingers. Through your touch, their brain is collecting information about where their vertebrae is in space for each single vertebrae. Again, this is important information for the brain to know that they have that many vertebrae that have the potential to move and the potential to be able to coordinate each one individually or together to help them move through their milestones, such as better head control, coming up into sitting, rolling over, walking and standing. The brain really does need to know where all of these body parts are to be able to coordinate them efficiently. And it can start with a simple, gentle touch. Then once you get a feel about where their vertebrae are in space, then you can move on to the next step, which is bringing your two fingers together, thinking of just using the pads of those two fingers and supporting and holding each vertebrae. So connect first with any vertebrae that you feel called to start with. Usually it's going to be the easiest one that's kind of sticking out. Often it's up in this area here. Some people though, it might be easier to find one down here. That's fine. Just start wherever you can feel one vertebrae. So you're gently on top of that one vertebrae that you feel. But now you're going to shift to not going on top because it doesn't really feel very good, to sliding both of the pads of your fingers underneath that vertebrae, and you're gently going to snuggle up from the bottom side of that one vertebrae and just hang out there, hold and gently support, and then you can gently release. And then you can do the next vertebrae down from that, gently snuggle into one vertebrae or two. Sometimes the kids are so tiny, you might be picking up two vertebrae at a time, that's fine. But the movement and intention is to go on the underside of the vertebrae with these soft, gentle pads. Think of it as loving support of holding that vertebrae wherever it happens to be lying, gently holding, supporting, and then gently releasing. And then you move to the next one. And again, it doesn't really matter where you start on the spine. You could be starting down here and moving upwards, or you could be starting up at the top. And as parents, I would actually not recommend you do anything with the neck area here. Start about shoulder height at about C7 and work your way downwards, or work from the bottom all the way up, and just stop at this point. Doing anything with the neck, I would highly recommend going to a practitioner. So let me show you on the larger skeleton here. So each vertebrae has these spinous processes coming out of it, and that's the bump that you feel. So when your child's lying on their side like that, I'll just tip it over. So this is the part of the vertebrae that you typically think of when you're thinking of a vertebrae, but they also have these processes that come out. So this is the spinous process here, and that's the bump that you would feel when you run your hand. When you run your fingers down their spine, these are the little bumps, that's a spinous process, but they also have these wing parts, and the wing parts are the transverse process. And so when your child is lying on their side and you've got your two little fingers there, the pads of your two fingers, you find the big bump here, nice and gentle. That's actually the spinous process. And what you want to do is you don't want to be right on top because it's not comfortable. It doesn't feel very good. You actually want to be below, hook your fingers down below. I'm not jamming in there. I'm using the pads of my fingers, gently snuggling on the underside of that one vertebrae, gently snuggling in there, thinking of supporting that one vertebrae there, that one spinous process. You can see supporting, holding, and then gently releasing. Moving to the next one, and you can feel this one's a little bit off-centered from the other one, and that's okay. You'll actually feel that with your own child. The vertebrae will be in different positions, rotated one way or the other, or turned inside or outside, but you do the same thing. You find the bump, use the pads of your fingers, slide it underneath, support, hold. You're not trying to move it. You're not trying to align it with the other one. That's not what this is about. This is bringing your child's brain's attention to each individual vertebrae, where they are. You're giving your child's brain quality information about themselves, about how they've self-organized themselves. The more awareness their brain has of their own bodies, the better their brain is going to be able to organize their bodies to do what they want. So with this one, we snuggle in with the pads of our fingers, gently hold and support, and then gently let go. Move to the next one, hold, support, gently let go. The next one, hold, support, gently let go. Hold, support, gently let go. All right, so if this is your first time trying this with your child, just simply do that. Take the pads of these two fingers and gently support, hold, and release on each individual vertebrae if you can, going down their spine and up their spine. It's a great movement to do right before your child falls asleep or even while they're sleeping. Go nice and slow, be gentle. It's extremely relaxing and extremely calming for the nervous system. If you've been doing this for a while, following my videos for a while, and want to learn more advanced movements, such as supporting the spine while you're rolling the pelvis at the same time, or while you're rolling the ribs at the same time to help their brains make those connections, you can check out the Mindful Movement Program, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.